All right. This person has millions, has been around for a minute. This person has millions and has been around for a minute. Who is this person that I'm talking about? This person is a woman. This person's a media figure. This person has her show on YouTube and it's blowing up and she's super popular. This person is a millionaire. This person has success just out of this world. In terms of what we conventionally consider success, we know this person, this woman, at least many of us do. This woman, on the surface, she might seem to have everything. She is famous. I'm sure that's something she wants. She has millions, that's something she wants. She has the ability to do what she wants to do. Go on vacations, get what she needs to get for her family. This person, by all counts, should be living the American dream. And maybe conventionally, they are living the American dream. Because you have the house, and you have the success, and you have a family. I don't know if this person is married or not. Currently, I haven't looked that up. But this person's name that I'm talking about is no other than Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly, Megyn Kelly, Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly has a thing against Haitians, which, hey, she's a human being, people. She's a human being. If she wants to feel a way about Haitians, she can feel a way about Haitians. If she thinks they need to assimilate, she can think they need to assimilate. That's her prerogative. Megyn Kelly has that right. That's what she believes. She has the right to believe it. And if she believes that she and her people made this country great, and she knows they made it great, because they're the ones who made it great for whatever reason she thinks they made it great, I don't know. But so she believes. And she says it with energy. She says it with passion. There's no way it's fake. But that's besides the point. Because ultimately, I'm not really here to judge her on how messed up or unconscious what she is saying. That's not really the point, because you have endless people around the world, people in this country, people in other countries who say backwards, mean, messed up things that will most likely come back and bite them in the ass one day. That's not the point. What is the point? Why am I bringing this up? Because I want to talk about the one thing that Megyn Kelly doesn't have. What doesn't she have? Can you guess what she doesn't have? Audience, can you guess what she doesn't have? She doesn't have peace. Because peace is everything. Let's talk a little bit about what peace leads to. What it can result in. Okay, peace, real peace, not the surface level peace that people think happiness is. They think happiness is essentially peace, but it's not really peace. And they only discover that when they're chasing happiness again and again and again, after the happiness they attain for a short while leaves them once again. Now, I'm talking about peace, the peace that has you feeling high, has you feeling wonderful, has you feeling creative, has you feeling like you can take on the world, but you don't need to take on the world to get riches. You want to take on the world to share love. You have a cup that's filled with love. You want to express that love. You want to build based on love. This is what peace leads to, being able to build based on love. That may not hold weight for many people, because what does that really mean, to build based on love? You have such a good, strong feeling of love within, you just have to share it with people. It's a wonderful thing, but almost everybody's closed off to it. Why do I bring Megyn Kelly up, though? Why are we talking about Megyn Kelly? There's other people to talk about. And seeing how in previous episodes I have mentioned that no one anywhere actually has peace, so what in the world is the reason to bring Megyn Kelly into it? Look, this is a levels thing, man. Because of course, I could talk about people who are comparatively more loving and live a life based that's nearer to truth, that's nearer to love, that, well, essentially is loving. And we're talking about people like Mamdani and Daria Liza and leftists in New York. And I'll touch on leftists in New York in a little bit, but we're talking about Megyn Kelly right now, because Megyn Kelly represents someone who's just not even on the surface, or not even conventionally, or we could say superficially, coming off as loving. It's obviously what most would consider very hateful in terms of the way she engages with the world through her show, her program. Now, I'm talking about her because I want everyone here to just imagine. I want you just to imagine. Use your beautiful minds and imagine what someone like Megyn Kelly is experiencing day to day. A woman who's in her late 50s. Imagine. I want you to imagine what she has to think of the world and herself. Because she obviously doesn't really think, she probably doesn't think she's even capable of, like, her body can't contain enough love to be able to show that daily. She certainly doesn't believe that. She's not looking in that direction, meaning she's not looking in any way to try to expand her capacity to love. She doesn't see that as a possibility. And she wouldn't look in that direction because what she feels inside is too counter to love to ever look for any way to expand love. Instead, she has to express the thing that she's feeling inside. She's feeling tension inside. She's feeling coldness inside. And tension inside and coldness, it's an uneasy feeling. It has to get expressed somehow. She can't express these type of hateful feelings to her children. If she has a husband or she has a boyfriend, she can't express it to them unless she wants the relationship to end. All that negativity, that has to go somewhere. Has to be expressed in some way. And what better way than to spill it out into the world so other people can feel what she feels. Of course, she gives her reasons. Her understanding is, well, these Haitians are here and they've had rights rightfully stripped by the Trump administration, so they need to go back. And let's be real. I mean, yes, it's fair to say Megyn Kelly's a grifter and all that. She doesn't really care. But for you not to care to such an extent where you would express these type of sentiments on your show still means there has to be a cold, dark, uneasy, tense feeling that is just settled within you and is there day in and day out. And we're talking about a body thick, filled, dense with energy blocks. That's what it is. Because every human on this planet, damn near, is dealing with a serious case of energy blocks. But some lesser than others. Your Mamdanis, your Daria Lizas, people such as the other leftists in New York, I don't have the names off the top. They deal with this less so. And you see it in their behavior, in the way they are with people. Okay, they don't feel that tension, that unease within. They don't carry a darkness around, a dissatisfaction around, to such an extent where there is no choice but to offset some of that energy by spilling something negative out into the world. Any unease these people might feel, I'm talking about the leftist, people like a Mamdani or a Daria Liza, is not to such an extent where they can't see a more loving way of expressing themselves or a more loving way of dealing with any unease within as an impossibility. It seems very possible because they feel love all the time. So they're like, okay, well, I mean, they feel love enough. I should say they feel love enough, or they feel close enough to it, familiar enough with that sense of love to be able to feel it again, to be able to get themselves to that place again and continue to express in love and share that feeling of love with others through the actions, through getting certain legislation passed, to doing things such as freezing the rent, for example, to having a very, we should say loving, even if controversial, loving stance on immigration. Very compassionate stance on immigration, I should be saying. I'm talking about Dario Lisa here. Mamdani, I'm sure his stance is pretty compassionate too. I don't have the details of that off the top of my head. But what I'm getting at is these people are closer to love. They're more familiar with the love and at least enough spaciousness within where they're not so closed off that their outlets in terms of how they move in this world is to spill out or unleash vile hatred. You do that if that's in you. You're expressing what you are. So Megyn Kelly feels that. She's feeling it. People listen like, oh my God, I can't believe she's saying these things. It's what she feels, people. It may not directly be toward the Haitians, but toward the others on some level. She definitely feels it. She at least feels it enough where even if she doesn't care about the particular issue of a certain group being in the United States, certain ethnic group, she cares little enough about them to be able to grift in such a way that requires her to shit all over them. It's all good to her. Because that's the way she expresses herself. That's her truth. Megyn Kelly is just being truthful. Her version of truth, of course. Nowhere near absolute truth. She couldn't be close to absolute truth. Shh. Absolute truth? She got a good hit of that. Like absolute truth. She'd collapse. Body can't handle that kind of love. Couldn't even handle peace. If she started to feel peace within, it'd just be foreign. Now, this unsettled undercurrent of tension is always carried with her. That's how it must be. And it's been there so long, she's unconscious of it. It's with her day to day. Megyn Kelly, of course, if she knew it was possible, she'd want peace. And think about this. She's so far removed from peace that despite having millions of dollars, she still has to express herself in such a way. Despite being in her late 50s, she still has to express herself in such a way. That hatred, that unease within runs so deep that she can't even mature out of the need to express those kind of sentiments in her late 50s. In her late 50s, it doesn't matter that she's been here for over 5 decades, nearing 6 decades. And when it's all said and done, and Megyn Kelly's no longer here, still, what she has said, what she would have done would have been for nothing. Because she won't have peace. And she already had money. She has money. So she doesn't need to do it for money. Everything she doesn't want to happen is happening anyway. She still feels so bothered by the other, are so indifferent to the other, that despite having millions of dollars, despite the fact that she can live in some uber white, gated, rich community and never have to deal with the other unless they're, mowing her lawn or cleaning her house or watching her kids, she still has to spill out bile. It's overflowing within her. It's there, it's bubbling up. Because understand something. The degree of indifference that would allow you to spill this type of bile still means there's something hateful within, even if you don't actively feel vile toward the particular group that you're shitting on. There's something hateful and just dark inside. Darkness within her. She wants peace. She still does it for peace. That's her way of getting closer to peace. Because she has to get rid of that negativity somehow. It has to go somewhere. It has to. If it doesn't go somewhere, she might have to put on a KKK mask. Okay? Better than, instead of having to go to a KKK rally, better to just be on your microphone and be able to express. It's just saying you're being a true American. And it has nothing to do with white nationalism. And it has nothing to do with keeping the United States a Christian nationalist country. None of that. Nah. Oh, man. Megyn Kelly, I say to you, you need and union for peace. I know my voice is so beautiful and y'all can't handle it, but there's something even more beautiful than my voice. Peace. Which is what Megyn Kelly wants. She wants peace. That's what Megyn Kelly wants. She wants peace. But will she get peace? No. 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 She never will. She never will. Because here's the thing. And obviously I don't know her, but like this is true because it's true for everybody to more or less a certain extent. In terms of that true peace, you just have people in society who are closer, but no one really gets that. Megyn Kelly's as far as you get from it. She doesn't even really know what peace or love really is. She only has poor facsimiles of peace and superficial experiences with it, with peace and love. She doesn't know anything real like that. She's so far from it that it's foreign to her to create in any way other than a way that is hateful. See how beautiful? It's so beautiful when there is more love inside, even if you don't have what I know to be actual, permanent, steady peace within. When you're closer to love and you're closer to that peace, even if you're not actually there, it still comes out in beautiful ways. New York, New York, New York, New York. I'm talking about New York. I'm talking about Mamdani. I'm talking about Daria Lise. I'm talking about the leftists that won. Blew the minds of the establishment, but not going to stay on that right now. I'm still talking about Megyn Kelly. I say this because maybe there's a chance that this video gets out there and Megyn Kelly watches a bit of it, listens to a piece of it, and she's like, yo, this guy UMI is right. I don't have peace. My life is completely devoid of peace. And even if I believe I look rich because of the clothes that I can wear, or how I can get my hair done, or how I can have my makeup put on, I have all the money and the riches to look how I want to look. The money and the riches to have all the physical things, all the physical toys, the physical pleasures and comforts I want. The car, the house, the vacations, the kids, husband or boyfriend. But still, I feel so ugly and just dark on the inside. I just didn't realize its ugliness or dark within. I just thought that's just what it's supposed to be on the inside. I just thought that's just being a human being. I didn't know it was possible to feel something that's opposite of that. What is that thing this guy, this black, is talking about? I'm not saying she'd actually say that. It was funny if I met Megyn Kelly one day. I'm sure she'd be super polite, super nice and everything. But of course, if she were to get any sense that, I can't be used or won't agree with what she has to say, I'm sure her sentiment, how she would express her feelings about me, would be different over the microphone, because that's how it would likely be with anyone else. I don't know for sure. I'm assuming. There's value in this. The peace. I want people, as I move on from Megyn Kelly, get peace. You gotta get peace. You won't. No point in really saying it. It's like speaking it to the void. But it's something real. This is something true. Peace within, that spaciousness within, is the realest thing. Understand, you get the car, you get the house, you get the vacation, you get the clothes, you have the kids, you have the family. You have what you might consider a legacy, which really the only people who are going to get anything resembling an actual legacy are the people who are closer to the loving end of things. Because people who are not closer to the loving end of things in terms of how they live their lives, they don't really get the legacy anyway. So I wouldn't say a person like Megyn Kelly would have that in terms of legacy. But in terms of all these comforts, all these pleasures that exist on planet Earth, and the stimulation it provides, the brief high it provides. I just want you to multiply and multiply and multiply and multiply. Multiply how it feels in your mind. And imagine you don't just feel that in the area you tend to feel it. Maybe you feel a lightness or just an easy or sensation around, your head or your heart when you get one of these toys, nice car, comfort such as a house, which we need to have roofs over our heads. But I'm talking about like a mansion. Or just think about the high that gives you, how that would feel in your mind. I want everyone just to think about that. What it would feel like to have the house, to have the car, to have the vacations whenever you want, to have a bank account, a 7-figure bank account. Think about that. And then I want you to imagine that sensation you're feeling is equivalent to you can say it's equivalent to just like, think of that sensation as equivalent to when you touch a metal doorknob, metal of some sort, and you get the shock. You just touch metal and you get the shock because you somehow generated electricity with some type of fabric that maybe you're wearing, or it might be your couch or something you rubbed up against. And then think of that spark on that doorknob. That's equivalent. That's equivalent to what you're feeling with the car. That's equivalent to what you're feeling with the house. That's equivalent to what you're feeling with the vacation, what you're feeling with the bank account, what you're feeling with the reputation you have. And you know what peace is? Peace is getting struck by a motherfucking bolt of lightning. That's what peace is. That's what deep authentic, genuine pieces. Getting struck with a bolt of lightning. When it hits you, that's what peace is. Genuine pieces. That's how you compare it. Two different things. Completely different things. Worlds apart. Even though that spark on the doorknob might feel wonderful, it's nothing close to the peace. And then understand when the peace is being developed within, when it starts to reveal itself to you as, oh wow, I feel the peace. Oh, I see how this is permanent and how this can grow. You have to understand your ability to love, your ability to express love, your ability to build in love, your ability to move the world forward in love. It increases exponentially. It's a wonderful thing. But not taken seriously or really known or appreciated by anybody. Even though people do touch on some of the stuff I talk about in different ways across the internet, but everything's from a more superficial place. Like if you think about The Secret movie, which is a wonderful movie. It's a wonderful movie. The biggest issue with The Secret is simply it didn't go deep enough in terms of explaining what a human being needs to do to truly access that power. Some people do it accidentally. Some people can use the methods that The Secret talks about, and they could manifest what they want in life, but there tends to be a lot more to it than that. Okay? And those things that they talk about, you can get, in terms of the money, the house, whatever it is, from The Secret film, still, that's not going to bring you the peace you want. All those things you want for peace. The peace is the prize. In the good way, just think about being high. For the ones who, might like to wake and bake or, just smoke here and there. Or the ones, drinkers. People go out, like to drink, whatever, like to go bar hopping. You just think of the buzz, think of the high you get from these things. Eternal peace, the peace I'm talking about, is infinitely greater than that. It is so much greater than that. There's a lightness that's with you constant. To such an extent, you start to feel invincible. You start to feel like you're Superman or Superwoman. This peace will transform you. This peace will transform the people around you. This peace will eradicate, absolutely eviscerate the negativity within you, the negative thoughts, the negative instincts, the negative inclinations. Eviscerate them. It'll wipe out the old version of you and show you a version of yourself you didn't know could possibly exist. It's otherworldly. Next level shit. This is everything. This is God. This is what the Christian nationalists want. The people who act like they're about God. And this is true Christianity. This is what a Christian nationalist country, about as much whiteness as possible. And you perpetuate these ideas under the guise of God, but you don't know what God is because no one knows what God is. They act like they do. You have no clue, not even close. Oh, and the delusion of the mind is so solidified, so thick, so impenetrable that it will trick you out of even giving more than 5 seconds of serious consideration to what I'm doing. That is a trick in itself. It makes you blind to the idea that it could even be a possibility what I'm saying is real. Next level. Peace. Even Hitler was acting out of a desire for peace. It was just, he was so so all closed down and so cataclysmically blocked within. He had no idea. He had no idea just that he's exactly represents the exact opposite in terms of how he's manifesting his desires into the world, how he's bringing his desires into the world. The impact he's having on the world is the exact opposite of what he actually wants to feel within. He wants to feel the peace within, nothing but literally just impenetrable darkness that he's unleashing into the world. And that's the effect of a lack of peace. If you're closed down enough, the horrors you'll bring into the world. Still thinking he'll bring you peace. Hoping he'll bring you peace. Even if you don't know what peace you want, you know you're trying to feel something other than what you're feeling day to day, because something is intuitively telling you, something unconsciously is telling you that where you're at internally is wrong. There's something else that's supposed to be felt within. You don't know what it is. It's peace. And there are people out there who genuinely want peace, actual peace, but one, they don't really know how to go about it, and two, they don't really take it seriously as a thing that they could have. Not like that. They decide, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm just good. Make sure I'm straight in terms of I got the money to feed myself, keep a roof over my head. If they have a family, they have money to take care of their family. Mamdani, Daria Liza. I should, you know what? Do it such a disservice right now. Because I feel like I want to talk about this, but I keep saying Mamdani and Daria Liza, right? And we know obviously Mamdani wasn't one of the candidates that won in the last week. I'm not talking about, he influenced it. I'm talking about, there's two other candidates with Daria Liza. I'm going to look that up real quick. So, I'm here talking to y'all on Talking Peace episode number 4. And right now, what I'm doing is I'm looking up. Let me see. All right, so Claire Valdez and Brad Lander, along with Daria Liza, and I hope I'm pronouncing all these names correctly. If I'm not, forgive me. You have these people winning in New York, and just think of the potential. Think about where this could go. Think about what it represents. These people are going to be seen way more on TV. They're going to have a platform now. And these people represent just a little bit more love than we're used to seeing nationally, at least presented on screen, whether in our YouTube feeds, on TV, on CNN, I don't really watch CNN, but on TV, just as a whole, in the mainstream, we're not used to seeing people this left on the forefront, and 3 of them to go along with Mamdani. And yes, it's going to overtake the country, so there's going to be a lot more people from the left winning. You've been seeing a lot of stuff happening with special elections, but the reason I want to talk about it is because what you're seeing as a whole from a macro perspective is love. Think of love as just a concept or just something encompassing everything. Love beyond the human being, love beyond any living entity, just love. Love is expressing itself through Mamdani, through Daria Liza, through Claire Valdez, and through Brad Lander. And expresses it through other leftists as well. And I'm not saying that there's not more moderate Democrats that it expresses itself through too. And even some Republicans out there, even though, but what I'm saying is, more to the left, you see a pure love expressed, or when someone's a little more pure within and there's less blocks within, you see how it expresses itself. You see how they're more compassionate. You see how they're more open. And then you wonder where that could take the world, what the possibility is. Now, some people might think Daria Eliza is out of her mind because of her stance on immigration and the idea that no one should be deported. But I'm going to say something here. You know what the ideal world is? The ideal world, if everybody had the peace I'm talking about, obviously it would result in the ideal world, because the lack of an ideal world, the lack of the world we desire and where there's all this strife and war is because you have people that are not at peace with themselves. That's why we do have to have the police. That's why we do have these wars. That's why we have a lot of people doing jobs they don't want to do, who don't make enough money. This all connects to people not being at peace within. Because if everyone was at peace within, then people would be less selfish, more giving. They wouldn't be feel a need to commit crime. People would be automatically more giving, which therefore results in less needy people, the people out there that feel they need to commit crimes. You see what I mean? You're not going to have things such as domestic abuse, murders, robberies, but we're talking about real peace within. It doesn't mean you can't point out examples, you can't cite situations where, hey, this person had money and he had the house and he had the car and this and that and he did this bad thing or she did that. That's not what I'm talking about. Genuine peace. It's actually there. Solid, permanent. You end up with a world where there are no borders, where there's no need to deport anybody, where you don't even, maybe use a passport, but not even that. People will go from country to country. It's all one country. It's all one continent. You don't have the continent. You don't have it like North America and South America and Africa, Asia. No, it's all of it would just be one continent, one world. That seems out there like there's no, dude, that's what would happen if everyone was at peace within. And what Daria Eliza expresses is the smallest microcosm of what that kind of world could look like. Just the smallest piece. Because she's not espousing that or even looking forward to that type of world. But the smallest piece of a world where there's no borders and nobody needs to be deported, and it's not crazy or out there to say what Daria Eliza says in terms of her stance on immigration. That world, that ultimate world to speak of, is a result of peace. Daria Eliza, compared to someone like Megyn Kelly, for example, has more peace, more love available within, more compassion available within, and as a result, she would express just the peace, just even if it's unconscious, still she'd express, she's feeling it within, she would express, as she did, a bit of what that world looks like. She's not expressing the whole thing, she's not talking about the whole thing, that's not even necessarily what's in her mind, or what she intends to express, okay? But because of a comparatively higher level of peace, I'm talking about compare her to Megyn Kelly or other people like Megyn Kelly, she can accept, the idea of a world where deportation is just wrong, it's extra punishment. That's something that appeals to her, that's something that makes sense to her. And it's something she doesn't mind sharing. Even if it is risky and it's controversial. Because it's true. She's expressing a little more truth than you're going to get from a lot of people. Because this is a little bit more there than you see with the large swath of the world. That's what the left wants to move toward as a whole. What I talked about, the macro picture, I'm not saying individually you're going to ask Mamdani or Daria Liza or Brad Lander or Claire Valdez, and they're going to be like, yes, what you and I talked about, that's where we want the world to be. That's where we think the world should be. No, but unconsciously that's what the left is moving the world to a point where there can be peace at that level, and where it all would just be one continent, one world. We wouldn't have to have all these imaginary borders. There's no reason. Everyone's at peace. No one is going to hurt another. People just don't hurt each other. It doesn't happen. When you make it easier for someone to have housing, when you make it easier for someone to feed themselves, when you give them employment that they want, and you put some extra money in their pocket, and everything continues to perfect itself over years and years and years, you get to a point where there's people with enough free time, enough money, enough peace of mind, where suddenly they have the time to even be able to, they feel they have, because I think they have the time now, but it'd be more common for people to feel like they have the time to look within themselves and to actually generate a real sense of peace within, a genuine sense of peace. They're intuitively going to do that. They're going to look inward, because where else is there to go? You don't have to worry about money. You don't have to worry about feeding your kids. You don't have to worry about being able to go on a vacation. You don't have to worry about your job security. You don't have to worry about employment that you like. You have a job you dig. You have free time. You may create more and do other creative activities, but you have enough free time where you still are able to go within and generate this peace that I'm talking about. Able to internally fill up your cup. And if you're able to do that, well, you're more at peace. And then you have countless people around the world, hundreds of millions and billions doing the same thing. And then boom, you have a world at peace, unlike anything you can imagine. But I know it's fantasy land stuff, not something you're likely going to see in your lifetime, nor am I going to see in my lifetime. But the left is always the party moving the world forward. They have the capacity to do so because they're just more loving within. This is the truth. If the love wasn't there, then the left wouldn't be who the left is. That's just what it is. But we're gonna move on past New York and the leftists. I'm gonna talk about creativity. Talk a bit about that and just how deep that goes. Here's the thing. You start to feel at one with what you're creating, what you want to create, and what you're creating. There's less of a separation in terms of you coming up with the idea of what you want to create and taking the action. It's almost like the idea popping in your head and the action become one, and there's just this seamless, uninterrupted flow of just movement as you create. And when you create, it's like that peace you're already feeling within is, even in that moment, in that stretch of creation, wonderful creativity, it's more intensified. That peace you're feeling while you're creating is even more intensified. And creating is it's a different level. Your creations are just at a different level. And this is why people love to create anyway, even people, even without being interested or serious about peace or truth with a capital T, this is why people love to create. Okay, because what does God do? And don't think of God as some human form. Think of God as source. What does source do? It's endless, infinite creation. So as a human being, you're going to love to do the same thing because you come from source. You're like source to an extent. infinitesimal extent, infinitesimal level, like source. Source creates infinitely in countless ways, countless variations of everything, infinite realities. And you want to create too. That's because you got source within you, you got source power within you. You're going to have that pull there because you come from source. It's in you whether you know it or not, whether you're aware of it or not. The power of creativity is insane because as this peace grows within you, the love grows within you, you undo these blocks within you, which results in the increase of love, which results in your increase of peace. This results in an increased ability to create. And what comes with that too is increased energy, and more increased energy, and more increased energy, and more increased energy. You just want to create and create and create, and you just have ideas that just flood into your mind. Because when you're unblocked, we're talking about unblocked all over. We're talking about feeling more unblocked within your abdomen, within your chest, where your heart is, within your mind. And yes, we can talk about the chakras. We can get to how these chakras, these areas, these energy centers within getting unblocked. Now, energy flows more smoothly, more easily up your spine. What you could say is there's an area you can call Sushumna. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it flows from your lower chakra to your upper, the upper levels, upper energy centers, all the way to Sahasrara. That's energy that gets unblocked from, your lower levels and flows up all the way to the top of your mind, the top of your head. And when that happens, because you're blocked, then creativity is insane. And that's what you're working on constantly. But I want to keep chakra talk out of it because, yes, I'm very aware, I'm not going to say extremely knowledgeable, but I have a fair awareness and understanding of chakras, at least enough to be able to do certain internal work on myself. But I don't really want to, I'm not saying you necessarily need to have that information, even though I think it's helpful, but I don't want to speak too much on chakras because I think it just makes everything a little too, I think it makes it a little too complex. I want to keep everything simplified. So energy blocks within. You have energy that doesn't flow within. The result of energy that doesn't flow within is an inability to create how you want to create. And you may feel a desire to create, but when you sit down, you sit down to create anything, whether it's to write something, whether it's to draw something, and you're just not really feeling inspired anymore. You only feel inspired when you think about a certain thing, when you think about what you want to create. But when you're actually creating, in the act of creating, the inspiration just isn't there at all. The interest isn't there. It's like it just goes. What's going on? Energy is not flowing smoothly within. It's up to you to solve that. It all starts with a commitment. Commitment is everything. That's why in the previous video I talked about you want to be committed for a lifetime. And which video did I talk about that in? It could have been the very last long form video. I've spoken about it a bunch of previous videos, but you want a lifetime commitment. Not because, you'll have to do this internal work every single day for the rest of your life. But if you're not willing to make a lifetime commitment, then it means that your commitment can never be strong enough to ensure that you make it all the way in terms of being able to develop a deep, permanent, eternal peace within. But I will tell you, from personal experience, it's absolutely worth it. It's absolutely worth it. It's what you want. From the depths of your bones, the deepest part of your heart. It's what you want. But you have to commit. No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to tell you about it. No one's going to care to tell you about it. Here's the thing about it. You get on this journey and you really start to put the work in. Yeah, it's likely for the initial year or 2 or 3 when you actually commit. From that point, when you're not missing days, you're taking this work seriously, it may seem that the world turns on you. even people you trusted, people you love. It might be your parents, it might be your wife, it might be your husband, it might be your kids. They may say or do negative things in ways you just didn't think they would. You might tell them about what you're doing, what you shouldn't. You really should. You should tell as little as possible. Share as little as possible, because you're likely going to get shit on by whoever you tell anyway, because they're not going to take what you're doing seriously. And there is unconscious conspiracy when it comes to the world to keep people in a place of more unconscious thinking. It's just how the world works. People are not going to accept the idea that you are after higher consciousness, that you are developing yourself internally, that you are after a deep permanent peace, and you're that's everything to you. That's the most important thing. Even people who are well-intentioned won't take that seriously. They may sooner tell you, oh no, you don't need to do that. Instead, just spend more time going out there and work in the soup kitchen, go give to the homeless. Look, you can do all that stuff, work in the soup kitchen, give to the homeless, which is great. Okay, but that's not going to bring you permanent deep peace. You're going to feel better about yourself for sure. And you're if you do that, you're closer to truth and peace than a person who would never do that kind of thing. But understand that's still not going to bring you peace. Because that's not what dictates whether you get deep internal peace. It is the commitment to yourself. It is the commitment to go inside. You want giving. You want to give just for the sake of giving. You want to give not so you can feel good about giving, but you want to give because you feel so good that you can't do anything other than give. It's possible to feel like that. That's a real thing. But the creativity you can experience, what's possible, it is unfathomable to most, because here's the thing, you'll find yourself able to create not just in the medium you're most familiar with, not just in the way you're most familiar. Maybe you're an artist, but suddenly you find yourself, hey, I want to not just draw now, I want to draw and I want to write too. And then suddenly you find yourself creating a comic book that you are just insanely passionate about, and you're engaged, and you want nothing more than do that day in and day out. You'll find yourself being able to be creative in more ways than one, to being able to fuse different forms of creativity to be able to make something beautiful that you didn't even know you would ever have the capacity to make. That's the power of deep, permanent peace within. It's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you. Mainstream society, the videos in your feed, your YouTube feed, it's not going to tell you this. I'm not going to share this. Even the ones who are legitimate masters, the ones who are highly developed, the ones who have permanent peace, don't really get into the implications of it much. And I understand why. First, you're so in the space of it. It's all good. It's all good in the bag of chips. You ain't even tripping on whether some other person wants to take you seriously or not. Like, who cares? You're good. You'll help and you'll give some advice if people ask for it. It's a joy to get out there and share with the world what's possible for a person who can get blissed out. But you ain't tripping one way or another whether someone does it or not. I think that's the case with many genuine spiritual masters out there. I don't know, though. I'm not in these people's heads. You feel like you could just create endlessly, and there's just infinite angles to just pull from in terms of what you can create and what you can put together, what you can construct. Your ability to construct the things, just weave something out of thin air, is just on an entirely different. It's like you're accessing an entirely different level of creativity. You have a level that's more based on what was drilled into your head in terms of what gets created in this world and what works, and what you've seen in movies, what you've seen in shows, what you've read in books, and that stuff's great. But there's areas where it's like you pull from areas where it's like this doesn't even feel like it doesn't even seem like it came from any book or show I read. It seems not book, right? It doesn't seem like it even came from any show I watched, or movie I watched, or book I read. It seems like this idea came from the ether, and then infiltrated my mind, and then saturated these other more basic ideas and conventional ideas I had in my head, and made them more beautiful, and made them more colorful, and more just electrifying. And suddenly there's just electricity within me that has me just almost trembling with a desire to create. You as a human being who gets connected has unbelievable creative power. Unbelievable creative power. You can't fathom the way you're able to create. You can't fathom what's possible in terms of your ability to create. AI can't fuck with you if you're connected. If you're connected, AI ain't fucking with you. AI can't fuck with a damn person who's connected. AI can't do shit. I think AI is actually dope, but AI really just gives a really good presentation of the information that's already out there. It pulls from all various corners of the internet, and it gives you a very cleaned up presentation of what's out there. Pieces this bit of information with that bit of information, boom, 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 connects the pieces and presents it to you, all complete and well done, like a dinner meal. Like a dinner meal. All together, all complete, like a well-cooked meal. Like a home-cooked meal. Like a New York-style pepperoni pizza. But as I said, AI is not fucking with the mind that's connected to source. And honestly, I'm not gonna say I wanted too much about this, because I always knew that mind connected to source, AI ain't touching anyway. But there's certain confirmation I got of that, like in the last few days. But yeah, this AI gives a really good presentation. The AI ain't pulling nothing out of the ether. Human beings can pull Human beings can conjure radically beautiful things out of the ether. Human beings can pull beauty out of the ether. Human beings can create from nothing. AI can't create from nothing. The creativity you feel from being connected, the creativity you will experience, seems to be aligned with energy as well. You feel creative, but you also feel energized, which gives you the ability to take the action and create how you want to create. Because I'm sure there's many times when you wanted to create something, but you were just too tired, and that feeling of sleepiness within kept you from being able to create this thing. It was the barrier. It was the obstacle. A lack of energy. Well, getting connected will solve that. And to get connected is to develop that peace within. And remember, the peace goes infinitely deep. This all goes infinitely deep. And remember, peace is synonymous with source. Peace is synonymous with God. Peace is synonymous with creativity too. All these things do work together. But it's not until you get deep enough into developing the peace within where you start to feel the connections. Intellectually, you may understand, depending on what your background is, what your experiences are. I don't know. I know that peace is everything. That's all you want. That's why, look, this is what the whole show is going to be about. This is what my videos are about. Since the very beginning, it's essentially been about peace. But as you're going to notice with the videos that will be coming out moving forward, is I'm going to be more direct on the peace aspect of it. I'm going to constantly connect it to what peace is, telling you it's synonymous with this, it's synonymous with that, synonymous with God, synonymous with source, all that stuff, synonymous with infinite love, synonymous with infinity, all that. Okay? But know that peace, that term, that word is the word that's going to be at the forefront, because I think peace is something that people can really more so connect to when they hear it. It has, even if they don't really know what it is in the way that I know what it is, I think there's something about peace, that word that rings in such a way in the human mind where they're like, okay, that it has a higher chance of appealing to the average human mind. Whereas you say love is obviously very strong, but love is, that in itself is such a weighty term. And it's just, a person could hear the word love and suddenly feel hateful because they're thinking of a woman, or a man they just loved, and, their last loving relationship, or the lack of love, that they got when they were growing up. And I'm not saying something similar can't happen with peace, but I think it's less likely with peace. When a person hears the word peace, they might think of the last time they've been high. They might think when they were on a vacation. The last time they were on a vacation. They might think of when they went out and they had a few drinks and they were able just to sit and take a breath at a bar. Okay? And I'm telling you, there is, while there is a vast ocean of difference between the peace I'm speaking of and the surface level peace that a person experiences drinking or getting high or going on a vacation, there's still enough of a similarity where using the word peace can have more impact on a person's mind when they hear it. So that's why I'm going to be harping on the term of peace over and over and over again. But moving on from that, really going to end the show on this right here, talking about this last thing, which is, you want to get high? Do you want to get high? Because if you want to get high, you know what you get high off of? I'll tell you what you get high off of. You get high off of truth. That's the ultimate high. Truth with a capital T. And what do I mean when I say truth? Peace. Because ultimately, when it comes to deep peace, that is synonymous with truth with a capital T. You get there by accessing truth. And truth is, the best way to look at truth with a capital T is what remains when everything is removed. Okay, you take everything away, and then what's there? That's the truth. Like a table was constructed, a chair is constructed, the idea of who you are is constructed. You are Alex, or you're Amber, or you're Jonathan, or you're this person or that. You're Charlene, or you're Alicia. Ton of names. Roxanne. David. These are all constructions. When you move everything that is construction in your life, and this goes deep, we're not going to get into all this in terms of what's constructed, but you deconstruct everything, and what remains is the truth. And when you are able to experience the truth, or when you're able to, the truth is more so embodied and minute-to-minute experience in your life, that's when you have the permanent peace as well. The more connected you are to peace, the more connected, the more you are connected to genuine peace. The more you develop the genuine peace within, the more connected you are to truth with a capital T. But I should have probably stated it like this, because I said get high off of truth. Nah, get high off of peace. Be high off of peace. Even though I wanted to say truth, but peace is, you get peace, that's a high right there. Okay, that deep, eternal peace, that's the ultimate high. That's the ultimate high. There's nothing that touches it. There's nothing that touches it. Deep peace is the ultimate high. Nothing is touching that. Nothing. There's no drug you can do. Yes, there's psychedelics and this and that, and you can have like an amazing experience and like, oh my God, That's not permanent, that's fleeting. In terms of anything that can be relied upon, that can be with you day in and day out, no drug can give you that, okay? There's no can of beer. There's no shot of liquor. There's nothing that's going to do it for you. And be healthy at the same time, because here's the thing. Getting connected, accessing the peace that is within you to access, there is nothing like it. It is healthy. It is good for you. There's nothing better for you. And there's nothing better for the people around you. It's just you have to get connected to peace. To the peace within. When you think you know what high is, like no, like this is the type of high that's grounded. The type of high where you can see things clearly. You can see them for what they are. You're under no illusions. You're not succumbing to cravings. You're not becoming an addict. You're not shooting yourself up with anything. You're not downing 3 6-packs in a day. Nah, man. When you have this peace, which is such an amazing high that is ever increasing in terms of your ability to enhance it, nah, man, nothing's touching that. Not even getting close. There's nothing that's going to have you create in the way you can create when you get connected. Nothing that's going to have you love in the way you can love when you get connected. Because when you create and when you love from a place of real connection, it's pure. It's true. When something is pure and true, that's when it's its most beautiful. The more spacious you are within, the more connected you are within, the more beautiful you will be able to create in this world. The more beautiful things, the more beauty you'll be able to bring into this world. The more genius your creations will be, the more of a mastery you'll have over your life. The more you will be able to positively affect the people who surround you without even trying. The more of a positive impact you'll have upon them. This is power. This is power. This is scary power. Getting connected, you're accessing scary power, scary levels of power. Levels of power you can't comprehend. Levels of power that are unconscionable. Beyond what your mind can fathom. It is yours to be had. But the realest power The truest power is from the connection. It's not from surface level shit. The money's not going to do it. The networking with people is not going to do it. The thing about power, real power, the most potent power, that is something you have without needing a dollar, without needing anything from anybody. It's already something with you. And then from that, you generate and manifest everything physical, every comfort, every possible fantasy with ease and in a healthy way and in a helpful way. In a way that actually betters you and betters everyone in which your good, seemingly good fortune touches. Because to everyone else, when you get connected, it'll just seem like good fortune. No, you're working with the magic that's already in you. It's not good fortune, it's commitment. A real commitment will bring you to an entirely different stratosphere of life. So with that, let me just say, Megyn Kelly doesn't have peace. 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 Okay, I'm done. Anyway, so with that said, commit. That's it. I'm done. You and I out. Talking peace. Catch you in episode 5. Done.